playing with a lot of confidence, and he'll have a chance to display it first because the Rams have won the toss. And Jeff Hayes will kick off for the Redskins. Back deep, Henry Ellard, number 80. Dangerous returner. Here's Jeff Hayes. High but short. Ellard at the 11. Slips on the field. Ellard to about the 27-yard line where the Redskins are down, led by Stuart Anderson. Checking the lineups, the offensive backs and receivers for the Rams, Ferragamo, Dickerson, Gooman is the U-back. Preston Denard and George Farmer are wide, and the tight end is Mike Barber, their leading receiver. Up front, it's Bill Bain, Kent Hill, Doug Smith, Dennis Hara, and Jackie Slater, and that is a fine offensive line. Perhaps underrated by many. So Vince Ferragamo and the Rams run the first offensive play from their own 27-yard line. Sudden death from here on out. Two tight ends, David Hill. This is Eric Dickerson. Over the left side, Dickerson cut back for about 5. Neil Olkowitz made the stop, and the footing looks pretty good. Up front for the Redskins, 4 down linemen, Liebenstein, Butts, Darrell Grant, and Dexter Manley. 3 good linebackers. Mel Kaufman, Neil Olkowitz in the middle, and Rich Malott. And the secondary, Darrell Green, Washington, Coffey, and Mark Murphy is back playing. He'd been out with a pulled hamstring. One of the benefits of that extra week off. Rams have David Hill. That is Hill in motion. Ferragamo fakes to Dickerson. Can't find anybody. Still, now he finds Dickerson, and he is cut down after about a yard by Neil Olkowitz. Green also there to help out on the stop.
Eric Dickerson was saying last night that he really likes it when the Rams can pass. He says, because that takes a lot of pressure off me. He said, well, we can't pass. When Vince Ferragamo had that bad finger, that tear in there between the little finger and the next one, he said, then we had to be a running team. He said, that's tough when you have one back and everyone's keying on you.
It'll be 3rd and 3 from the 35 with 13.5 minutes left to play in the first quarter. Preston Denard and George Farmer both to the right side. Pitches back to Dickerson. Dickerson will not get the first down as Murphy and Green come up to stop him. And the Rams will have to punt. Misko is the Ram punter, standing at his own 21-yard line. Back deep for the Redskins is not Mike Nelms. He is on the inactive injured list, and it's Nick Giatquinto. Good high kick by Misko. Giatquinto comes up to field it and does a remarkably good job to find a handle on it. Misko trots off. It was only a 28-yard punt, but there was no return, so the net was 28. The Washington Redskin offensive backs and receivers, Theismann and Riggins. Rick Walker is the H-back. Art Monk, Charlie Brown, the wide receivers, and Don Warren, the good blocking tight end. Up front, it's Jacoby Grimm, Bostic, May, and Stark. One of the best offensive lines. Charlie Brown and Art Monk, the wide receiver. That's Monk in motion. Gives on the first play to Riggins, and he is hammered after about a yard. Greg Meisner, who had such a good game last week against Dallas. Let's look at the defense. They play a 3-man front. Youngblood, Meisner, and Doss up front. The 4 linebackers, all good athletes. Owens, Collins, Ekron, and George Andrews. And the secondary, Eric Harris, Leroy Irvin, Nolan Cromwell, and Johnny Johnson, the 2 safety men. They've swapped position. So that takes care of that. It's 2nd and 9. The Redskins operate from their own 36. To Riggins. Right side. Riggins gets to the 40. Nolan Cromwell and Carl Eckern
You know, that's that counter play, and we're going to see that all day. We were talking about the plays that Joe Gibbs said were the best. Here is one of them. Riggins, a little counter step to the left, then they pull the left guard and the left tackle, Grimm and Jacoby, and then Riggins gets right in there behind those two guys. We're going to see that play all day.
They have got an awful lot of mileage out of that play. That has to be one of those that Joe Gibbs was talking about.
That had to be one, you know, when you throw them up against the wall, that had to be one of them that stayed.
Here's Theismann back to throw. Charlie Brown breaks clear down the middle. Brown still on his feet. Brown to the 30-yard line before Nolan Cromwell cuts him down. 29-yard pickup for the Redskins, first down in Ram territory.
I tell you, Charlie Brown, Leroy Irvin is man-on-man on him. You see right here is the inside guy, 87. See Irvin? He started in, moved up, back into the field. Theismann hit him there in the middle of the field, and he picked up a big gainer. And Charlie Brown, he has a lot of those moves and stuff. You see that?
The last time they played, he had a big day. 8 receptions for 140 yards. Redskins won that contest easily. John Riggins, the lone setback. Monk is in motion. Theismann will throw. Brown again. Irvin slipped down. Leroy Irvin, man-to-man, as John Madden said, but it's very slick on the sides of the field. Irvin slipped down.
What he did is they just wanted to pop a quick one out here in front of Irvin. They're going to Charlie Brown again. As you said, Pat, he caught 8 passes in the last game, and it looks like they figured that's pretty good. You see what happened? Irvin slipped there. He just started up the field. He started to go back. He slipped. Boom, they got that play for a first down.
The field, as a rule, or the whole, I should say, is in good shape. But around the edges, it is very hard. Brown was in motion. Riggins gets the carry. Cuts over the right side, still on his feet. Riggins down to about the 11 before he's stopped by Jim Collins.
You know, the tough thing about playing defense in a 3-man line against a guy like Riggins is, first of all, you have to take on your offensive linemen, and they're big guys called the Hogs and stuff, and then after you get off that block, here comes a 240-pound fullback you have to tackle. That's tough.
They have been successful, as you can see, when they get down in this area of the field. With Brown in motion. This is Riggins with the ball again. Riggins inside the 10 to about the 9-7 maybe. First down, Redskins. Jim Collins on the bottom of the pile.
This is the reason that John Riggins is so valuable to this team. You know, you look at all his carries and his yardage and his average per carry. But the one thing, this guy scores touchdowns. You see that? 24 touchdowns. That's what makes Riggins the great player and the great contributor to this team that he is.
All of those touchdowns were rushing, and that's an all-time NFL record. Joe Gibbs, Coach of the Year last year and this year, and deservedly so. Riggins again. Riggins bangs inside the 5 to about the 3. Johnny Johnson made the initial contact. Riggins always likes to carry the ball a lot, and it looks like he might get his wish today.
But you know, a year ago when they went into the playoffs, he told Joe Gibbs, he says, give me the ball. He didn't talk anything other than that. He didn't talk to him all year. I asked Joe, I said, what did he say this year? He said he didn't say a thing. He said he's getting the ball plenty.
And he knows he's going to get it plenty.
And the defense knows he's going to get it plenty.
But there's really not too much you can do about it. That big offensive line up in front of him. Theismann asking for quiet. Second and goal, the ball up the 3-yard line. Didier in motion. This is Riggins in the end zone. Attempt the extra point with Theismann holding, and Mosley is right down the pipe. So the Redskins get on the scoreboard first.
I'll tell you, John Riggins has has 25 touchdowns now, but here we see Didier's coming in motion. He's going to lead here. Here's Grimm. Here's Jacoby, these big guys. Riggins just takes in here right in behind him. Watch this. Now watch Didier come across. See, he stops right here. Now he's going to lead there. They start the block. They pull the guard right there. Look at that hole for Riggins. Sees that little square open. Boom! Just pops it right in there. This isn't a bad deal here. Watch Clint Didier again. He's going to come here. He leads on the outside, gets that block right there. Riggins is right in behind him. Well, you need that big, strong fullback. Get down there. You see, everyone's low in here. Boom, Cronin, shoulder square, head up, right in the end zone.
Redskins lead 7-0. 8:49 left first quarter. 7-0 Redskins over the Rams, and Jeff Hayes set the kickoff. Henry Ellard back deep for Los Angeles. Ball coming to Barry Redden, however, at the 11-yard line. Redden trying to break tackles. Can't. It's Charles Mann, who is big and fast and who's usually down on special teams. Number 71, who made the tackle.
Joe Gibbs says that someday he's going to be a great one. That he's going to be a great pass rusher. And I think this series right here is a key one for the Rams, because John Robinson said, you know, he said, if we could set it up somehow where our offense couldn't even see the scoreboard, he said, I'd like to do that. I don't want them to feel that they have to panic, that they have to force things, that they have to make stupid mistakes. Just play.
That's what he hopes to do, and I would imagine he'll get that accomplished. Eric Dickerson, the lone setback. That's Mike Gooman in motion. Eric Armo back to throw on first down. Gets it out to Dickerson. Dickerson hurt his foot last week against Dallas, but they say it's okay. He was out earlier really checking out the frozen areas of the ground so he could see if he could cut or not. Last time they played, they got behind early, so Dickerson only carried the ball 12 times. That was his worst day of the year. But the Redskins were so far in front, it really is not that much of a factor.
You know, I think that's a combination. That's why this Redskin defense is number 1 in the league against the run. Because those two things. One, they play it well. They're good players. And two, they're always playing with the lead, and the other team is usually playing catch-up and passing more.
2nd and 3 at the 31. Gooman stays in the backfield momentarily. Came out in front of Dickerson. Dickerson cuts back. Maybe got a yard, nothing more. Neil Olkowitz, the middle linebacker, made the first contact.
I'll tell you one thing about that Redskin line is they play that cutback very well. I think that's an advantage of a 4-man line, is they don't have extra holes there for a cutback. They can play 4 right down the line, the Redskin defense.
They force it a little bit differently than most teams do. 3rd down. Redskins with their nickel package in, an extra defensive back, Vernon Dean. 3rd down and 4. Rams using 3 wide receivers. Ferragamo. Henry Ellard. Anthony Washington cut him out of bounds. Ellard came up with the football.
You notice how a complete pass quiets a crowd? You know, it was 3rd down. Everyone's going, hey, get him, defense, see that? He goes, whap, throws the ball out there to Ellard, and a hush comes over the stadium. That's the way. You know, you always worry about playing on the road and the visiting, you being the visiting team, the crowd yelling and screaming. But if you do well, they come to a hush.
You saw the big broad back of Dave Butts. He looks big from here even. Back to Dickerson. No place to cut back, and now he finds a place to cut back. And there goes the penalty marker down. Olkowitz on the tackle again. Dickerson up close to midfield. Boy, it doesn't take much room for him to operate.
That's probably one of those holding penalties against the tight end, because the official threw it. Yeah, it is right there. See, the official, that deep guy, when he throws that one from center field, he's keying or watching the tight end or those guys in that area. So it was probably the tight end, probably someone like Mike Barber holding.
Someone like him. Ben Wright, by the way, is the referee.
Holding offense, the tight end.
was the tight end because that guy keys him when he throws the flag. It has to be. There it is, right there. You see the arm? Right there. Right there. Boom, boom. He got him once. He got him twice. He got the double arm. Yeah, that's a good hold. Heck, if you're going to hold, do an all-pro hold.
And Wright didn't want to give his number.
You know it's a tight end because that deep guy keys him.
So it's first down. Ferragamo back to throw. Outside to Dickerson. He has a blocker out in front of him. He falls down and doesn't try to get back up. On this side of the field particularly, we'll see a lot of that. Darrell Green came up to put the clamp on him to make sure he stayed down.
I'll tell you, Doug Smith, the center for the Rams, did get a nice block on that. He got out in front of Dickerson. It was a screen pass. Brought the center on out there. He was out in front of him, made a nice block. Let's see if we can see it here. Dickerson starts out to the right. You see the center coming right down here. 56, watch him. Doink! Right there. But Dickerson fell down, so he couldn't use the block.
I never have heard you make that noise.
Oh, doink!
I thought we were at the Daytona 500. On second down, Ferragamo is back to throw. Hashtime takes away from one tackle. And now Dexter Manley takes him down. Butts and the famous Redskins stunned up front.
Well, I tell you, they got that push in the middle. Now watch Dave Butts, 65 there. See, he starts there. The end, McGee starts inside. He comes out around him. See, and he gets the first pressure right there. He grabs Ferragamo's left shoulder. Ferragamo now has to come up the field, and there's Dexter Manley waiting for him. Big Dave Butts, you know, when he goes straight ahead, he's a load. But when he comes around that end, he's a bigger load. He weighs over 300 pounds, you know.
And once they get over 300, there's no exact weight.
Yeah, you don't even care then. Just say plus.
Ferragamo gives on a draw play to Dickerson, and there's nothing there. A flag is down way deep upfield. Rich Malott made the stop of Dickerson.
I don't know. Did they get the play off within the 30 seconds?
Maybe not. I think you're right. They didn't. It was 3rd and 28. That'll make it 3rd and 33.
Delay.
3rd and 33.
Boy, that's one you don't want to be the guy that's calling the play on that one. 3rd and 33. What do you do? Just get a little better position for your punter, I would imagine.
You remember what you said to yourself before you started. You be patient. That was the book on Ferragamo the first time they played. A frustrating day. 4 interceptions. You be patient. Dickerson slips again. Gets outside the 20 to about the 22, and Vernon Dean came up to make the clamp. You could see the middle of the field, which they've been reworking and working throughout the past 2 weeks, is all dug up. Misko. Nick Giaquinto back. Misko's kick is high again. Giaquinto signals fair catch and makes it. Crowd thought perhaps a penalty marker should have been thrown on that one, but it was not. 29-yard punt by Misko and no return. Washington leads 7-0. Washington 7, Rams nothing. Pat Summerall, John Madden at RFK Stadium in Washington. 5:37 left to play in the first quarter. Heisman to Riggins. Riggins breaks out of the pack, tiptoes, if that's possible for him, for about 5 yards. Nolan Cromwell.
When you're a fullback and you're 235, 240 pounds, look, you got dirt and mud on you, a little blood, and you're in there behind those hogs. You don't tiptoe, you just drive. Work like drive and stuff. Man, I like this Redskin team. I like what they're... Look at those hogs, the linemen. You don't see any long underwear and stuff. Look, just bare arms. They come out ready to go.
Jeff Bostic is the center. That's Monk in motion. Heisman gives again to Riggins. And Riggins barrels into the Rams secondary for a Redskin first down at the Ram 40. Collins on the stop.
You know, this is Riggins, but I'll tell you, that group up in front is really making movement in here. You see, we're in here, and they just drive off. They get movement. They get this backside. You see, they seal it off. A little hole there, but that's okay if they don't see it. And then Riggins comes. Now, when you get Riggins, you got to have about 3 or 4 guys to tackle him. You see, he just runs right through arm tackles.
First and 10 Redskins. Walker in motion. Again, Riggins. Hit behind the line of scrimmage. Drags George Andrews so he doesn't lose any yards. But he got hit early.
That's the way to do it. You see, the Rams are starting to blitz or bring their outside linebacker because the way to stop a Riggins is to get in the backfield and get him stopped before he gets started. Because once he gets upfield into that line, shoulder square, he's darn near impossible to stop.
That is a pretty tough order to get him before he gets started. Second down and 10. Walker again on the move. Heisman back to throw. Rams are blitzing. For Charlie Brown, and he's got it, and he lost it. Leroy Irvin with him stride for stride that time, and Irvin just batted it away at the last second.
And we talk about the Redskins game plan here, Pat. It looks like they want to run Riggins and throw to Charlie Brown. Now, to stop Riggins, the Rams had to go to a blitz. Now, when you go to the blitz, you're going to put your corners man-to-man on the receivers. Leroy Irvin did a pretty good job there.
A heck of a job.
Watch him, he's right there. Gets an arm in there right at the end. Charlie Brown should have caught that ball, though.
Irvin just got his hand in there at the last second.
He had a big interception last week against the Cowboys. Remember, he ran it 97 yards or whatever it was. Ran out of gas.
Heisman going for Monk and has him touchdown. For the extra point again, Theismann holding. Flag is down, but the extra point is good. And they'll leave it that way because the Rams jumped offside.
They'll get the penalty on the kickoff.
Coachman on the defense, the point is good. 5 yards on the kickoff.
Let's take a look at that touchdown again. It's right here. You see, we see tight coverage here. Here's Art Monk. He's just going to come up, running up right here. Theismann right back, watches him all the way. Now watch what happens here. He starts, it's tight coverage. You see it, it looks like Irvin fell down. He slipped right there, and that's why Monk got behind him. Look there. Now the safety there can't get over, and Monk gets in the end zone. I'll tell you, it is slippery out here. Let's watch it tighter here. Watch it. See Irvin slip as he's turning to come out. Now Monk is free. The safety's coming over. He can't get there. Second touchdown for the Redskins.
So they lead it 14-0 with 3.5 minutes left to play first quarter. Well, it should be a happy new year right now for Art Monk after that touchdown catch 40 yards from Theismann.
I'll tell you, when you have an up call in the corner who's playing on you, slips and falls down, that's a happy new year.
Hayes to Ellard at the 3. Henry Ellard got good speed. Around the corner is Ellard, and he slips down and falls out of bounds. Stuart Anderson was chasing him. But Ellard gives the Rams pretty good field position outside the 40.
Did you notice that all the slipping is done here on this right side? Now watch Ellard. He's going to start up. He starts up in the middle. See, now that brings the coverage team inside. Then he sees a hole out here. Now, as you say, he has good speed. He gets up to this side. Now, this is the slippery side right here. Now, watch him. He's starting to make the move, and he just slipped and fell right there without even getting hit.
Rams have it first and 10 at their own 39-yard line. 3:20 left to play first quarter as Hill comes in motion, and Eric Amo tries to throw. Looking for Preston Denard. It's picked off by Anthony Washington. Well, the Redskins have it all going their way.
short. Anthony Washington is the corner, 24. Now, he has double coverage. He has help deep, so he's playing underneath. You see, he just trails Denard. So when you have that defense, you have to get it over that guy's head because his job is to stay underneath.
And he did it perfectly. Anthony Washington gives the Redskins the ball again. 3:13 left to play first quarter. They lead 14-0.
Chevy Top taking charge.
See, we can watch here and see why Anthony Washington can play underneath on Preston Denard, who runs the corner, because he has deep help from his safety, Mark Murphy, here. Mark Murphy is going to come over and help him deep. So as Denard goes, he can play him from underneath. Now you see here, because he has a guy in behind him, he doesn't have to worry deep. See, so he lets him get him, and then he just shadows him from underneath. And if the ball's thrown short, he makes the interception. If the ball's thrown long, then the weak safety, Mark Murphy, makes it.
Look at John Robinson's message to his offensive unit. Relax, relax. The Redskins won't let you relax. First and 10 from their own 31. Charlie Brown, one of the wide receivers, and Riggins comes wide. Jacoby out in front of him. And Riggins down the sideline, barrels over Johnny Johnson. Riggins. Boy, they call him the Diesel, and you can see why.
You can see why, but did you see the Diesel? If he's a Diesel, what's 66? Watch Joe Jacoby pull in front of him. Now, he's so big, he just blurts out the defense. Watch, just boom, putt. The guy can't even see. That's problem. He doesn't even know where Riggins is. He turned and started going the other way, and here comes Riggins in behind him.
And Jacoby never left his feet.
No. When you're that big and you're blocking a safety, you don't have to leave your feet.
Walker, the move man again. First down, Redskins. Riggins again. And Riggins barrels to the right side. Riggins off to the races. To the Ram, 42. Mel Owens finally stopped him.
I'll tell you, Riggins is a great fullback, but he has a great line. We saw Jacoby pull on the play before. And on this play, we see Russ Grimm. Now watch the left guard pull here. See him pull? Little thing. Riggins gets right in behind, gets the block right there. He didn't even need that block. Boom, he's out to the outside, wrap up the field, out again. Some move for a big fullback.
62 yards for Riggins and 11 carries already. Theismann on a roll. Don Warren had it and had it knocked loose. Now they say he did keep it. Fumbled, the ball went out of bounds, and they'll give him another Redskin first down after a 12-yard gain.
This is a play that really confuses the defense. Here's the one where they pull the right guard and pull the right tackle this way, pull this guard Grimm this way, fake the fullback that way, and Theismann comes out here. But watch the effect it has on the defense. See that drawing in there? Watch that. You see him cross it? Look at the defense. They all get held in there. Theismann's outside. Whack.
And it's a Redskin first down. Ruled that he had possession and fumbled out of bounds. Riggins, about 3. Reggie Doss digs in to bring him down. John Robinson has to be wondering, how do we stop that number 44?
What he's wondering is, how do you stay patient when the other team just keeps going boom, boom, just keeps throwing everything at you?
1 first down for the Rams, 9 for the Redskins, and look at the total offense. 159 to 23. The score, 14-0. Just over a minute and a half left to play first quarter. Riggins cut back. Everybody else slips, but he doesn't.
I'll tell you, the bigger running back isn't the slipping type because, as they put their feet in the ground, it stays a little more. I think the two secrets are, 1, not having long, heavy cleats, and 2, having big, heavy, strong legs so that you can drive into a frozen turf.
Riggins comes out. 13 carries, 67 yards, 1 touchdown. Joe Washington, who is dangerous in a different way, takes his place. Third down and 5. Theismann has the pass deflected at the line of scrimmage, and it comes incomplete. we'll see Mark Mosley.
I think Joe Theismann was lucky that he had that one deflected because he was thrown into double coverage. The Rams' free safety, Johnny Johnson, looked like he was waiting right in there for that post pattern.
Mosley's year, he has plenty of power. This one will come from, it's like 42 yards out. Theismann will hold. The last of the straightaway kickers. Pumps it, and pumps it good, with plenty of room at the other end. So the Redskins, with 49 seconds now left to play in the first quarter, dominating the Rams 17-0. Mosley just hit from 42 yards out to make it 17-0 in favor of Washington.
You think little Chip will be a kicker?
It's a bad name for a kicker.
Chip Mosley.
There's no such thing as a chip if you're a kicker. Barry Redden at the 13 after Hayes kicked off. He gets out to the 25 where the Rams will take over. You can see where the sun crosses the center of the field from where that spot is as you look now at Joe Gibbs. Some job he's done. The first 3 times the Rams have had the ball, they punted twice, and Ferragamo had the 1 interception. And the Redskins have capitalized every time. They're an awesome-looking team right now.
They've been an awesome-looking team the last couple of years.
They sure have.
They haven't lost it.
Farmer in motion. Pitches back to Dickerson. Dickerson for about 5. Neil Olkowitz, once again, the middle linebacker, coming over to fill in.
You know, that Eric Dickerson has sure had an amazing year. You know, one thing you can't do is call him a rookie anymore. I know that. You know, when a guy, he's already run for 1,907 yards. He's caught 415 yards of passing. You know, over 2,000. That guy's not a rookie. There are some running backs in the league that have played 5 years and haven't touched the ball that much.
He's handled the ball going into this game some 466 times. That's a career, as you
For
said.
a lot of guys, that's a career, yeah.
And that's the end of the first quarter. The quarter that's been totally dominated by Washington. They've been moving almost at will, and they lead the Rams 17-0 at the end of 1.
That's a new group, Hogettes. I hadn't seen that one before.
Hogettes.
Yeah.
2nd and 7 for the Rams. Out to Denard. And behind Denard.
I'll tell you, that's one thing that you don't see the Redskins doing very often is a safety blitz. And that time they brought their strong safety, Ken Coffey. Let's see if we can see it. He's right here. Now he's going to come on a blitz right up the middle. Watch it right here. You see he hits it there. He times it perfectly. Comes up the middle and made Ferragamo rush it.
So it's 3rd down and 7 from the 29. Opening minutes of the second quarter. Ferragamo puts Farmer in motion this time. Backpedals and throws quickly. Out to Farmer. Can't hold on. Incomplete. Again, slipping down in front of that area, or in that area in front of the Redskin bench. Brian Carpenter was the defender. Look at the yardage in the first quarter. Redskins with that good balance, and the Rams with not much. John Misko's number 6, the Ram punter. Hasn't really gotten one to take off today. Still hasn't. Nick Giaquinto. No fair catch this time, and he's out of the pack. And he could be off to the races. Chased by Misko. Misko finally cuts him down. Giaquinto on the tackle, and flags come down everywhere. He might have taken him down by the face mask.
a valuable guy for that Redskin team is Nick Giaquinto. He's a guy that they bring in on the passing downs. He's returning punts. They lost Mike Nelms. They come up with a big return from Nick Giaquinto. And it is a face mask right there at the end by the punter.
Mask on the defense. First down.
Watch it right there. You see, he has to get him somehow. He grabs a face mask right there just before he takes him out of bounds.
48-yard return. Go ahead.
That Giaquinto's something. You know, they call him the trash man, that he gets all those little dump passes and goes in motion and all that stuff. But that was pretty big play for a trash man.
I'll say.
That's big stuff there. Look, he got that hat on, huh? He's ready to go. Giaquinto, good name. Giaquinto, give it to Giaquinto.
All the way down to the 11-yard line where it's 1st and 10 Redskins with Riggins behind Theismann. Theismann asking for quiet. And now flags come flying out. Something happened in the middle of the defensive line, offensive line. Ben Dreith will let us know momentarily.
Whatever it was, it's against the Rams.
Had to be an encroach.
Approach on defense, number 70. He made contact.
DeJournay, the backup nose tackle, number 70.
Yeah, he's up there nose to nose, helmet to helmet with that center. Got a little too close. Joe Theismann, calm down, crowd, calm down. Let us play.
1st and 5. To Riggins. To Riggins. Riggins. Almost in the end zone.
I'll tell you, when you have a short yardage runner, you want him to hit in there and make the piles go backward. Now, watch this one here. It's going to come to the left side of the screen. He comes in here right in there behind Mark May. Now, watch the pile as they hit. The pile goes towards the goal line. It doesn't go back towards the Redskins offensive line. Watch it here. Well, he gets a block there on Collins by May. There's Cromwell. He says, gee, I just ran into that decent.
And so it's 1st and goal. Wansley is the back in front of Riggins, but Riggins is the back who puts it over the top, and they have an indicated touchdown, and now they have. To attempt the extra point, and Theismann will hold. 24-0 Redskins. Starting to resemble a rout.
Watch your way. Riggins got that touchdown up. You know, the football has to break the plane of the goal line. Now watch here. It's a good surge by the Ram defense. There's not a lot of movement. Riggins comes in from the tailback. He jumps up right there. I think he broke the plane at first. When he came back, now watch, he'll stick the ball out there again. Watch him take his left hand and stick it across the plane. He said, if I didn't get it the first time, I'll guarantee you I got it the second time.
They went the 11 yards on 2 plays. The penalty against the Rams for encroachment put them closer, but it was all set up by the punt return by Giaquinto. And it's 24-0 Redskins. Belonged to Riggins last year, and if today is any indication, they will again this year. He takes on a little oxygen. Hayes to Redden again at the 10. Redden stays on his feet for a while, gets down to the 22 before Larry Kubin hits him on the special teams. He usually does, or is somewhere close by. Will take over 1st down at their own 25, and they got to get something going here pretty quickly.
You know, I wonder what the 49ers are thinking now. You know, they were there yesterday. They had that tight one with Detroit, and they're sitting there watching these Redskins and saying, holy moly. The good news is that we won. We beat the Lions yesterday, and the bad news is we may have to go back and play these guys in Washington next week.
The Redskins were offsides on the kickoff, so they'll have to kick it again. Coming up next Saturday, NCAA basketball, Oklahoma, led by Wayman Tisdale, against Syracuse, 1 o'clock Eastern, or USC against Arizona State, for those of you in the West, 3 o'clock Pacific time. That's next Saturday. John Robinson.
Well, he said he wanted to stay patient, but I'll tell you, when you get down 24-0 this quickly, I don't know if you can stay with the patience.
I wouldn't think so.
That's a test of patience.
Henry Ellard is number 80. Hayes is number 5, back to kick off from the 30-yard line this time for the Redskins. Joe Theismann has to be pretty satisfied about the way things are going, and the year is gone.
I'll tell you, he's a beauty. You know, yesterday at practice, he came out, he went in, got his own footballs. He was warming up while they were practicing special teams. After practice, the team went in. Joe Theismann was still out there throwing.
Here is Ellard. He gets to the outside, gets up to about the 29-yard line. Charles Mann again on the special teams to make the stop for Washington. The Redskin defensive unit, number 1 against the rush this year in the NFL. One of the reasons why is people have had to throw against them so much, because they get out ahead so much.
I think we're seeing one of the reasons why right now. There's still 13 minutes left to go in the first half. They're ahead 24-0.
Ferragamo 4 out of 7, the 1 interception. 1st and 10. Now he goes to work, or tries to. That's almost picked off by Darrell Green. What a player he is.
I'll tell you, he may be one of the most valuable guys on this team, Darrell Green. He was a number 1 draft choice. The Redskins last year, he's not a big guy, but does he quit? You see how he just planted that left foot? He saw that thing. He gets a jump in the ball, boom, right in there to make that knockdown.
He can make up some territory.
Well, you know, he only weighs 170 pounds. He's 5'8". He's just a little guy, bright-eyed guy, though. He's full of life. Joe Gibson saying it's amazing. He's only a rookie, but guys just follow him around.
He's turned into a real leader. And a remarkable player. Ferragamo going deep. Darrell Green right back there again and knocks it away. And intended for George Farmer. He can do it all.
Look at the pickup that he gives his team now. I mean, the life. Of course, they have a 24-0 lead, and that's a big thing, but the crowd just comes alive. Now watch him. He's man-to-man on George Farmer. Nice back pedal. He sees he's going up. He runs stride for stride with him. Stride, don't look back. There he looks. He sees the ball. Boom. He gets that right hand up there. Darn near has the interception. I'll tell you, he covers the out short. He covers the deep one. The other thing this little guy will do is he'll come up and support the run for you.
So it's 3rd and 10. Ferragamo outside. This time it is complete to Henry Ellard. Anthony Washington, the defender. That looks like the place to work on this side of the field.
This side and away from Darrell Green. I think Ferragamo said, I'll try Green once, I'll try him twice. Now I'm going to go over to this other side and work on Anthony Washington. So he just hits Ellard out here with the out. Most of the passes have been completed to this side of the field. I think this is the slippery side. I think the defensive backs are a little more leery here. That's the area that Leroy Irvin slipped twice in.
That's only the 2nd Los Angeles first down of the day. It's at the 47-yard line, their own. Just over 13 minutes left to play in the 2nd quarter. Ferragamo. Pass is knocked away by Darrell Green, intended for Farmer. Jack Youngblood, 13 years in the NFL. Had to make a change to the 3-man line this year. Unhappy change in the beginning, but he's done it. Unhappy condition in the game right now if you're a Los Angeles Ram. Youngblood's been a great one. Ferragamo now throwing on every down. The Redskins blitzing. almost caught by Henry Ellert, but again, Darrell Green was right there.
I'll tell you, this guy is really something. You know, and as the season's gone on, he's had bigger games. Remember the Cowboy game? He had a big game that day. Big game against the Giants. This guy's all over the field. What? They throw the little short one. Boom, he's right up there in the gap. They throw the medium range one. He almost picks it off. They throw deep on him. He almost picks it off. What a series Darrell Green is having here.
Unbelievable. Let's leave him alone, guys.
He came over to me at the sidelines yesterday at practice, and he said, I want to talk to you so you'll talk about me.
Ferragamo has Barber, and Barber slips down at the Redskin 35. Another Ram first down. Their best drive of the day, an 18-yard gain. Ferragamo to Barber.
Well, Ferragamo had tried working the receivers right. He had tried left, and now he decides to see if he can find his tight end in there. He hits Barber coming across. He's free, and he gets a first down for him. Look at this guy slip. Let's watch Bill Bain here, 62. He starts out, he's just going to cut Dexter Manley. See, he stands up like he's going to pass protect him, and whack, goes down and cuts him below the knees. Those defensive ends don't like that.
Here's Dickerson cutting back to the right and slashes upfield for about 4 yards. Mel Topman. See who made the tackle. If it's Darrell Green, you'll know.
There he is right there. That was the thing that Joe Gibbs was saying. You know, he weighs about 165 pounds. Watch him from the right-hand side of the screen. He says, but he has great leverage. You know, he just gets up in there, keeps his shoulders low. You see him come diving and throw his body in there? I'll tell you, that was a heck of a first-round draft choice.
I'll say.
When you win the Super Bowl, you have to draft last. He was the last player taken in the first round.
Here comes the Redskin blitz, and Ferragamo does get it away as a man wide open. It's Preston Denard, and the Rams jump on the scoreboard. Anthony Washington slipped down again.
It's the same thing. It's the same side of the field here, Pat. This is the side of the field I think that all the passing games should be worked on today because Anthony Washington falls down on this play. Watch it here. He's defender. He starts to backpedal. Now watch right here. He starts to turn, and he just ran right by him. He didn't slip there until the end. Denard made a heck of a move on him.
Remember, he made a heck of a move last week, and he finally did slip down.
And Anthony Washington slipped down on the goal line, too, but he didn't slip earlier.
Lansford kicking barefooted. I don't know how they do that in weather like this. Drives it through, and it's 24-7 Redskins. 11:26 left to play in the first half. And the Rams finally do get something going and are on the scoreboard. Redskins leading.
On a wonderful day like today, I defy any cloud to appear in the sky. Dare any raindrop to plop in my eye. On a wonderful day like today.
Subaru presents the only full line of on-demand four-wheel drive vehicles in America. So now, every day can be
A wonderful day like today.
Subaru, inexpensive and built to stay that way. January 1st, responsibility for your leased Bell business phone switched from Bell to AT&T Information Systems. Ownership of the phones transferred to AT&T, together with most of the system's technicians and many service representatives.
The same people you trust are now at AT&T.
Call 1-800-247-7000. Remember this number for service or new business phones. AT&T Information Systems.
The unbeaten and second-ranked Texas Longhorns will try to keep their national title hopes alive when they play the once-beaten Georgia Bulldogs in the Cotton Bowl tomorrow on CBS Sports.
Okay, Preston Denard right here, Anthony Washington right here. Denard starts, he gives him a little out move here, and at the same time, Ferragamo's back here. He gives a pump fake. Now, Washington falls for the fake, and then Denard runs the up move. You see, he starts out here. Now, right here, you see the little pump fake at the same time he gave the out move, and Denard goes right by Anthony Washington. Of course, that was a Redskin blitz, so that put them in a man-to-man out here.
Same thing had happened to Leroy Irvin a little bit earlier. Lansford hangs it low. Alvin Garrett juggles it at the 15. Is cut down at about the 25. Mark Giroux is the first Ram down, along with Williams. Next Sunday, if Washington wins, it'll start with the NFL today, and the 49ers will be here against the Redskins. Check your local listings for the time. If Los Angeles wins today, it'll be the Rams against the 49ers at Candlestick. Art Monk comes out wide to the right. Joe Washington is in the backfield with Theismann. Theismann looking left. Charlie Brown stays on his feet. Johnny Johnson knocked him out of bounds. Good yardage for the Redskins. Nolan Cromwell was over there also.
I'll tell you, the whole thing starts with pass protection. But here's the reason that he has the time. Look, he makes the stop move. It's the same thing. Irvin comes up, and they hit the ball between the corner, Irvin, and the strong safety, or the weak safety, Johnny Johnson. Here's the pass protection I'm talking about. Watch this. Whoa, there's Grimm in there, Jacoby in there. Look at that. Jacoby keeps his man, Doss, right on the line of scrimmage.
This is Monk in motion. Theismann gives to Washington. He's been nursing a tender hamstring. Reggie Doss brings him down. Washington missed the last game of the regular season against the Giants with that hamstring pull, and he's still a little careful.
The passing game looks like the type of thing where you make an out and an up move or a stop and go move. Looks like you can get some big plays there, because most of the big plays have come from those types of moves where they stop and then go again, make the defender react, fall down, slip, and so on, those types of moves.
Walker, who comes outside Monk. Theismann comes out quickly to Monk. He is cut down on a good play by Eric Harris. He had it read very well. Lost yardage.
Eric Harris was waiting for that one. He just sees this thing, it's a screen, and he comes up. Now they get one of them blocked, you see. Monk starts back. Harris sees it. He just comes right up, and he tackles Monk before he can do anything. He didn't get any other blocker in front of him. Monk said, doggone, that one didn't work. Was that one of those good plays we had all year?
And take it out of their portfolio. Giat Quinto is now in the backfield with Washington. It's third and about 12 as Theismann backpedaling. He has Charlie Brown, chased by Cromwell. And Brown goes out of bounds at the Ram 20. What a day he's having. 28-yard gain.
Of course, he caught 8 passes against the Rams in their last game. This is his third one today. He's in the slot here. Nolan Cromwell is man-to-man against him. You see, he just does a spin. Cromwell looks back and goes underneath instead of getting on him, and Charlie Brown catches the ball.
4 passes, 98 yards for Brown. Here's why. Art Monk's second touchdown of the day. A strike from Theismann.
Was going to help. He knew he needed it.
Mosley makes it Redskins 31, Rams 7. Here's the touchdown again.
No, but I'll tell you, they're as sharp as I've ever seen the Redskins today. I mean, they're running, they're blocking, they're throwing, they're doing everything that a football team has to do.
Every pass that Theismann throws is just about perfect. 31-7. 5 times. And as you can see, they've scored 5 times. 2 by Monk, 2 by Riggins, And a field goal by Mosley.
One thing about that keeps your punter rested.
Yeah. Except he's also the kickoff man, and he's kicking off a lot. Here's Harry Redden. Up Henry Ellard, who bounces to the outside and gets out to about the 24. Brian Carpenter took him out of bounds, and the Rams offensive unit trots back on the field in shock, I'm sure. .23 left to play in the first half, and it's Washington 31, Los Angeles 7.
I was saying earlier, you know, that Joe Gibbs was worried, you know, if the team took a week off and if they'd be able to get back. They've had some bad weather, and he really didn't know how they'd perform today. And I don't think he has to worry anymore.
David Hill in motion. Ferragamo gets it out to Hill. Hill butts heads with Anthony Washington, gets about 7 yards, and we'll watch Dexter Manley in action, number 72.
Well, of course, what the Redskins like to do on pass rush is stunt. You know, like cross their tackle. You see Grant the tackle. He works out here. He tries to grab the guard and tackle. Manley, the end, crosses with him and goes inside. That's how they get most of their pressure on the pass rushes, with that crossing stunt between the defensive tackle and the defensive end.
Second down, they got about 6 yards, so make it 2nd and 4. There's Denard in motion as Ferragamo looks and has his tight end Mike Hardver for a first down. Mark Murphy on the stop, 13-yard gain.
One thing, Ferragamo can drill that ball. When he really throws that thing, it doesn't stay in the air very long. And he's starting to have a little success now. One, throwing to his tight end in between the numbers. And the other thing I still think he can do is throw out here on this left side with that stop and go, or out and up, or in and up, those types of things.
Denard starts out this way, gives himself a little bit more room. And Ferragamo goes back to throw. Going for Ellard. And guess who's chasing? Number 28, Darrell Green.
I think part of that idea was a good idea, Pat, coming out here to the left side. This is the shadow side. It's damper out here. It's where they're slipping. So that part of the idea is good. But getting Darrell Green on your guy that you're trying to throw to, I don't think that's too good.
Certainly hasn't been today. That's why this particular side of the field on your left is so hard, because the sun has never gotten to it. The other side's not bad.
I like my shoes.
Dickerson almost dropped the ball and is taken down by Todd Liebenstein. You got to take care of that offside.
I bet that was one of those stunts that we just saw in the past, because they'll do that on the run, too. And I'll bet you the tackle, Butts, was working to the outside, and Liebenstein probably coming inside. Let's see if we can see it to the right of the screen here. It is. You see Butts was starting out. Liebenstein was coming inside on a stunt anyway. He saw the run going that way, and he just kept coming.
3rd and long as you look at Todd Liebenstein. Only in his 2nd year. Dickerson is the lone setback. The blitz is on, and Ferragamo gets away from it momentarily, and now Rich Malott trips him up. 2nd sack of Ferragamo for the day.
I think we'll see it's a stunt and a blitz. You see, they stunted the defensive lineman and blitzed the linebacker.
Misko's punt hits the ground and bounces down to the Redskin 26 before the Rams down it. D'Aquinto didn't try to handle it. 7:22 left to play in the first half, and if you joined us late, this is correct. It's Redskins 31, Rams 7. It's 31-7. But it has been a good year. John Riggins is back after resting for 2 series, and he goes right to work. Not much doing this time. Over on the Los Angeles bench, The offensive meeting. What can we do?
Well, what they're talking about with the offensive line are those stunts that they're having a little trouble with. Again, we showed where the end and the tackle cross, and then on that third down, you see they not only crossed the end and the tackle, but they also brought a blitz in there. So they're showing, what you do with the cross. You see, he goes here, he crosses here, and it looks like he wants him to zone it.
Theismann back to throw, and now we'll take off with it. Cuts back into the middle and is taken down from behind. Almost a first down, but a flag is down back close to where Theismann began. Probably holding.
It's going to be holding against the Redskins. It was thrown by the referee. That's Ben Bryce, the referee in the black hat. And he threw it right by Theismann just before he started to run. So it had to be one of those deep offensive holds. One thing about Ben Bryce, the referee here, he'll tell you what he has.
Offense, number 74.
George Stark, the veteran of the Redskin offensive line. The statesman.
He's looking around, what?
There's another of the elder statesmen, 11-year veteran Dave Butts, in the Pro Bowl and picked as the All-Pro defensive tackle selection this year. And is he big?
Deep in concentration over there.
Theismann back to throw. Has a screen pass set up to Rick Walker, the tight end. Walker gets a big chunk of yardage back before the Rams stop him about 5 yards shy of a first down. Helps you keep warm, I guess. Don't know what else it does.
One thing, you like to throw a screen pass out there to a big guy because once he catches a ball, if he can get some blocking out here, look, you see the tight end catches it, he has a guard there, a tackle there, a block there, and then he can run through a couple of things and still pick up a few more yards. But that's an awesome looking thing when you see a big tight end running behind guards and tackles.
Like Jacoby and Trim particularly. Here's Theismann back to throw. He has Giaquinto, the trash man. And they get the first down. Have not seen Theismann any sharper than this.
He looked sharp in practice yesterday, didn't he? I think every time I saw him throw a ball, I never did see one ever hit the ground. He stayed out there in practice. After practice, he kept his receivers out there. He had Charlie Brown, Art Monk, and those guys. And he really looked sharp. And it didn't look like the weather bothers him at all. They gave him one of those hats. Look, they finally let him in a group. They got all these groups here, and Theismann is in none of them.
He is the director, he said. First down, Redskins at their 43. Here's Riggins. Hit at the line of scrimmage, spins around, finally gets a yard out of it. Reggie Doss led the defense.
I think what he calls himself is a ringleader of a circus.
They have all kinds of groups.
I'll tell you, that's a pretty good circus, though.
Yep, pretty effective.
Riggins has some groups. He's part of the Hogs. He's the only non-lineman or tight end that's in the group, and then he has Ringo's groups and the whole thing. There's part of the Hogs, and look, they let Riggins in.
And Warren and Walker, the two tight ends.
But he has another group, and he has a 5 o'clock group, and they hang around in a little cubicle in the practice field.
Theismann down the middle, complete to Don Warren, his tight end. Collins and Eckern make the stop for the Rams. Clock running with 4 minutes plus 5 seconds left to play in the first half. Redskins. Wow. One of the things how awesome they've been.
Yeah. One of the things that Joe Gibbs was saying about Theismann, he said, they talk about a lot of things that he can do and has done. He said, but one thing you have to remember is he said he's a great bad weather quarterback.
The best I've ever seen, he said. On third down, he goes right to work, and he has Monk. Monk very near a first down. I think he probably has it. Eric Harris was the Ram defender. Now they mark it back.
They're not going to give it to him. Joe Gibbs remembers that Dallas game where he went for it on fourth down. John Robinson remembers the Dallas game where he went for it on 4th down. Tom Landry remembers a Redskin game when he went for it on 4th down.
They will measure, as you can see.
I think it's going to be short.
Heisman down, indicating to Gibbs it's about 2 inches short.
And Joe said, no way, not this time, man. We're punting. I know what he's saying. He's saying, no, we've done this before. We have the momentum. We're ahead 31-7. We have everything going our way. We're not going to give them any life and let anything change it.
But don't forget this guy Hayes, who's in for his first punt of the day, is a heck of an athlete. He might just decide to take off with it.
I bet he doesn't. He would have a heck of a lot of explaining to do to Joe Gibbs
if he didn't make it. If he didn't make it.
Yeah.
Maybe even if he did. Johnny Johnson back with Henry Ellard. And Hayes will kick it. Direction of Ellard, who goes up with a fair catch signal. That's Johnny Johnson, I'm sorry. Ellard was on the other side. So the Rams come in, 29-yard punt by Jeff Hayes. 3:07 left to play first half. 31-7. Washington leads the Rams. Pat Summerall with John Madden at RFK Stadium in Washington. Sold out for the 131st consecutive time. That's a record unmatched in pro football or in college football. Vince Ferragamo. 1 touchdown pass, but a day of frustration so far. Incomplete for Farmer. The defender, Darrell Green.
Darrell Green's a lively little guy. You know, bright-eyed, always has a lot of bounce in him and stuff. Good spirit. That's the way you have to be a corner, you know, because it's a little lonely out there. Sometimes you're out there like you're on an island. You're out there man-to-man. Everyone can watch you, see everything you do. Well, you have to have good spirits about you to take that. Then you have to be cocky. You have to think you're good. Just, hey, come on, throw at me, come on.
He has all that. Ferragamo 9 out of 18 for 104 yards. The 1 interception, the 1 touchdown. Back to throw again. Outside Dickerson. To slip away from Darrell Green, but the spin doesn't do it. Green took him down.
He's really
amazing.
Something. Yeah. Look, he got a little mud on him now, got some gloves on. That'll get him up to about 170 pounds when he gets wet, you know, and gets those gloves and stuff.
In addition to everything else, he can really jump.
Well, you know, he's one of those guys that has all those things. He has great speed, and he has good movement, and, you know, good eyes, good feel. But the other thing, he loves to play the game. This is fun. He is having fun out there. And I'll guarantee you, not all of them are having fun.
Especially not those in the blue. Dickerson speeds around the corner, is cut down, no first down. Vernon Dean made the stop that time. The Redskins had a blitz going. Malott was looking very closely at Ferragamo.
That's why Joe Gibbs didn't want to go for it on 4th down. He said, we know we have the momentum. Let's punt and keep this thing under control.
2 minutes to play in the first half. Hi, I'm Pat Summerall for the NFL. To me, the Super Bowl is the greatest thrill in sports. And this game program sure adds to it. Super Bowl 18, the same one that'll be sold at the stadium. A collector's item. And you can order a copy for just $4 plus 50 cents postage. 172 pages with scouting reports, a review of the season, action photos, and more. Send $4.50 to Super Bowl 18, P.O. Box 18, Trenton, New Jersey, 08651.
What happens to the child nobody wants? As they grow older, their chances for adoption grow slimmer. He's Joe Sensor of the Minnesota Vikings. He knows how these children feel. As a child, he lost one of his parents and was in an orphanage for 6 years.
I know what it feels like when sometimes you don't feel loved and you don't feel cared. And it's a very hurt feeling.
Let's give every child our love and understanding. Let's give the United Way.
preceding message was sponsored by the National Football League. 2 minutes remain to play in the first half. Both teams have all three of their timeouts remaining. Misco back to punt. Giaquinto. Here's center Mike McDonald, who's quite a story. We'll tell you about it in a minute. Giaquinto has to let it bounce. Steals it on the bounce. Cuts up to midfield where the Redskins take over in good shape. Mike Wilcher made the stop. Watch McDonald. He's some story, as I said.
I'll tell you, yeah, some story. The last time he played football was in 1979 for USC. John Robinson needed a snapper, a center, last week for the punts and stuff, and he says, well, call that Mike McDonald. Someone said, hey, coach, he hasn't played in 4 years. He said, I don't care. I know he can do it. So they called him. He was on the golf course. He was on the 5th hole. He got this ball. He went in, left the golf course, reported to the Rams. Now he's playing in a playoff game.
Joe Washington comes to the outside. Can't find any place to go as the Rams throw him for about a 6-yard loss. One thing about McDonald, we aired last week when we were talking about him, when we said he was married. And that's a serious mistake. His girlfriend was very upset.
And his friend said, hey, you said, geez, that was some good news. You know, you got to play for the Rams. You're playing against the Cowboys. You're doing all this stuff. But if you're going to get married, you got to tell us that, too, man.
We didn't know it. Second down and 15 from the 44. Still Washington. The one back. Heisman going for Monk. Out of bounds. Another good move by Monk.
I think it's the same type of thing. I think it's one of those out and up type things. Watch Art Monk here. He's on the outside in the top left-hand side of the screen. You see him, he does that little out. Irvin looks up. Oh, did he run by him? Did he take the bite? In fact, he stayed with the bite. And then Nolan Cromwell's coming in deep too late, but the ball was out of bounds. Did you see that move and what it did to Leroy Irvin?
I've seen him do that to a lot of people, however.
But I think today's field is a perfect day for those types of moves.
Oh, I agree. Monk is out wide to the right this time on third down. Heisman trying to set something up. Going deep for Charlie Brown. Brown makes the catch. What a catch by Charlie Brown. Vince Newsom and Nolan Cromwell were both back there with him. Brown has now caught 5 passes for 145 yards.
You know, Joe Theismann threw that ball, Pat, as far as he could throw it. He just leaned back, and he just threw that ball up. Let's see if we can watch him here. Look, it's that organized sprint. He starts back, sprints to the left, can't find anything. Now watch him haul off and throw this. He just throws it with everything he has. Double coverage right here, inside out. Charlie Brown gets up at his highest point and catches that ball between 2 Ram defenders. Holy moly. Watch him. He starts here. Leroy Irvin gives him a bump. And then we're going to see Nolan Cromwell and Vince Newsom come into the picture right here. Inside out. Now watch this leap by Brown. Up at the highest point. Downtown Charlie Brown. Look, double coverage. Up in the air, highest point.
That might be the catch of the year. Another one of those delightful, smiling guys.
He is. You know, we saw him yesterday coming into the practice field. He was wearing the gloves that he's going to play with. I kind of like that. Joe Gibbs said, if you're going to play with gloves, then wear them. Charlie Brown wore them home.
First and goal from the 7. Theismann looking. Has a flag come down. He was intending for Brown again. But it's going to be pass interference, I'm sure. Leroy Irvin upset.
Pass interference, 47, in the end zone, ball on the 1-yard line. First down.
That'll put it at the 1. Redskins won't let up.
offensive line of the Redskins is doing a heck of a job, because you haven't heard much from a Reggie Doss or a Greg Meisner or Jack Youngblood, any of the Ram defensive linemen.
Riggins and Wansley. The give is to Riggins. Touchdown.
I talked about it before, but the great short yardage runners make those piles go backwards. You see when he initially hit it, boom, that pile went back into the end zone.
Mosley's extra point is good with 43 seconds left to play in the first half. And Washington 38, the Rams 7. Go Riggo, the Diesel.
When he hits it, you see it come this way, now they stop it and they get it going back the other way, but it's too late. But great short yardage and goal line runners always make the pile go towards the goal line.
It's a day to say hail to the Redskins. Coming up at the half, the NFL Today, Brent Musburger with Dick Vermeil, the first half analysis, and the celebrations from yesterday. From Seattle and San Francisco, there's Jimmy the Greek, of course, on the right. Coach Vermeil in the middle, and Brent Musburger. And they'll be analyzing. I'll be interested to see what they have to say.
Looks like the Greek has a frozen microphone down there. Do you see that?
Could have covered up with his scarf. This is Snellers. And this is nothing doing again. Stuart Anderson down to make the stop.
No, one thing, you talk about a frozen mic and the Greek down there. I've always thought about these officials. You know what would be terrible? It gets so cold here that everything freezes. I wonder if their whistle ever freezes.
I don't think so.
I mean, that would hurt if it froze to your lips.
The 38 points by the Redskins, by the way, is the most ever scored by Washington in postseason play.
Not even finished with the first half.
You know it. Here's Ferragamo back to throw again. Shooting for Preston Denard, incomplete. Darrell Green on the coverage.
I think I'd figure somehow to stay away from Darrell Green. I mean, they got other defensive backs like Ken Coffey, Mark Murphy, Anthony Washington. Passing downs, they bring in Vernon Dean. I think I'd work one of those guys. Maybe stay away from Darrell Green. We kind of went to that well maybe a few many times.
I think so.
A few too many times.
Haven't seen that position ever. Any better than he's done it today. 34 seconds still left in the first half. Ferragamo under pressure, gets the screen pass out to Dickerson. Nothing doing. Harry Brooks, who backs up Darrell Grant, chased him down. Dickerson almost got a rest. Redden tried to come in. Now he leaves. Ferragamo's back to throw. Has time this time. Ball intended for Barber. Batted away by Monty Coleman. Now flags are thrown. They say the time has run out in the first half.
I don't see how time could have run out. It was an incomplete pass. There were over 12 seconds to go. And of course now the half can't end on a defensive penalty. Looked like there was a little skirmish down there.
There was some of the players. Jeff Bostic already in the tunnel.
Yeah, he said, well, they're through with offense. I'm the center. I just center. They won't need me anymore this half.
Those fouls, personal fouls on both teams, are after the half is over. The half is over.
After the half is over, when it's over, it's over. And the half is blessedly over for the Los Angeles Rams as Washington has just come out firing from all guns. They lead 38-7. Here's what the problem was about.
Well, we see Charles Mann here, number 71. He's working against Bill Payne. Ferragamo throws the ball here. Mann gives him a shot right there and takes him to the ground. And one thing about Vince Ferragamo, you know, he's a scrapper. He'll go after you. He ended up on top.
He's been involved in a few fracases as the Rams head for the locker room in shock. Washington leading 38-7. You have been watching greatness in action.
He's hit by a kicker, a receiver, and last touch by the kicker right there out of bounds, the kicking team out of bounds. So therefore, they get a 5-yard penalty. They have to kick it over. Had it been last touched by the Redskins, they would have gotten the ball right there.
The kicking team has to have possession. That's the key to the whole thing. Now it's a penalty. They'll kick from the 30. A new quarterback, Holly, warming up for the Redskins.
Well, I guarantee he's not going to play. If he's warming up, it's just because he got cold or he wants to get a little practice in. Because I'll guarantee you he won't play.
Lansford this time kicks away. Kicks it left. Alvin Garrett at the 16. Garrett out of the pack, still on his feet. Garrett can make some things happen. Nolan Cromwell, the safety man, finally took him down, but he is back in Ram territory again. 39-yard kickoff return by Garrett.
Of course, the Redskins aren't going to let up. They know that, you know, to go into championship football, you have to have strengths in all areas. Not just your offense, not just Joe Theismann, not just your defense, but you need it on special teams. You need all areas, and I'll tell you, they're getting it today.
Theismann is indeed the quarterback, and that's Riggins, the ball carrier. Riggins gets maybe 2 over the left side. Carl Eckern came up to make the stop. Riggins with a great first half, as did many of the Redskins enjoy. 19 carries, 80 yards, 3 times in the end zone.
I'll tell you, he has a lot of fun with this game. You know, I think he has it in the right perspective. He doesn't get all involved in a lot of things, and he just goes and practices and plays, and he lives pretty hard, too, but he enjoys everything he does.
On second down, Riggins is hit at the line of scrimmage. Jack Youngblood and Carl Eckern combined to bring him down.
You know, that's the thing I was talking about. Look at Jack Youngblood as he gets up there. You know, is you have to take on a big tackle, like in his case, George Stark. And you say, geez, I just got by him, and then, whap, here comes Riggins, and he hits you.
And as defensive ends go in the NFL, Youngblood is not one of the bigger guys. That's why he likes the 4-man line so much.
He has a set of arms, though. Look at those arms on him. Whew.
Joe Washington and Nick Giaquinto in the backfield for the Redskins, and they go after it again. Andrews on a blitz. This is Art Monk. And Monk just dives in and bats it away to keep it from being intercepted by Johnny Johnson.
Johnny Johnson was pointing at Monk, and he thought he was interfered with offensively. He thought that Monk may have pushed him. Let's see if he did right here. Monk's going for the, I don't know, you can't see that right arm. It may be in there. That was close.
That was George Andrews who put the pressure on Theismann. Here is Hayes back to kick.
Did Johnny Johnson point? Hey, he pushed.
Ellard and Johnson back deep for the Rams. Hayes hangs it high. Johnny Johnson signals their catch. Drops it. Rams got it back, I'm sure. 27-yard punt by Hayes. No return, so the net is 27. Everybody is shaken up for the Redskins, it appears.
Here it is right here. You see what happened? He caught it too close to his body, and the ball hit his shoulder pad. That's why you don't want to get that ball into your body, because when it hits the hard surface of the shoulder pads, it'll bounce out.
38-7 Redskins. Greg Williams is the injured Redskin. And let's see if we can figure out how it happened. He's 47.
Number 47 right there, the third guy, coming right now in the middle of the screen. He's going for the ball as Johnson fumbled it, and they met helmet to helmet. I think that's what it was. So they both dived in for the ball at the same time.
Like he might have strained his neck in some way. In the bottom of that pile, there was another Redskin on top. And then he and Johnson met head-to-head. Tomorrow on CBS Sports, the Cotton Bowl. Once beaten Georgia taking on undefeated Texas. Second-ranked Longhorns trying to keep their dreams of a national title alive against the always tough Bulldogs of Vince Dooley. So we hope you'll join us tomorrow at 1:30 Eastern for what should be a very exciting Cotton Bowl game right here on CBS. Williams now seems to be okay. He had a good game, you might recall, when Murphy got hurt against Dallas. He came in with 2 interceptions. Farmer and Denard, wide receivers. David Hill in motion, and Ferragamo goes back to throw. Farmer had it, dropped it, and can't handle it. Darrell Green, the defender, was right behind him.
Looks like Darrell Green is limping a little there, but it's probably just one of those things where he got stepped on or got a little bruise. It doesn't look like it's anything serious. He was covered pretty tight, though, wasn't he?
Yes,
He was right there running step for step, man for man. Watch him on George Farmer here. He backs up. Farmer takes an inside move. And you see that catch up, you know, that's the thing. There's a lot of corners that have quickness and speed, but the guy who can burst on the ball is a special one.
Intended for David Hill. Incomplete. Farmer tried to go to work on Green.
And I think that's who the penalty's on, too, Pat. I think it was probably on Green because he pushed and Farmer went down. Oh, they're going to call it on Farmer, pushed against Green.
Offensive pass interference number 86. Decline a penalty. It's third down.
It's called on Barber. Green is still limping. It was Farmer who just slipped as he started to cut it upfield.
It was funny because that was where the official threw the flag, too. He threw it right at Farmer and Green, but he called it inside on the tight end, Mike Barber.
So it's third down as the Redskins decline that penalty. Darrell Green still limping a little bit. Gooman in motion this time. It's Ferragamo back to throw again. Going deep. Intended for Preston Denard. Anthony Washington right back there with him. Ferragamo and the Rams just can't get much going on offense. Of course, that's a tribute to that Redskin defense. They are tough.
It is. It's a tribute to the whole Redskin team because they've really shut them down and shut them out in every area. Offense, defensively, and even this area, special teams.
Nisco to punt. Low kick. Giaquinto will handle at his own 47. Ducks under one tackler, but Howard Carson takes him down. 37-yard punt by Nisco. Redskins take over at their own 48-yard line now, leading 38-7. And at RFK Stadium, 38-7 Redskins. Jacoby and Grimm. Only Dr. Riggo knows how to separate them.
He may separate them on this play.
Lateral back to Theismann, going deep for Monk. Incomplete. They're trying everything. Johnny Johnson back there with Monk.
I'll tell you, they tried the old fake separate. You see that? They started like they were going to separate between Jacoby and Grimm, handed the ball to Riggins. He stopped, and he flipped it back to Theismann, who then threw to Monk, who was double-teamed. I wonder how Riggins likes this kind of play, where he gets all revved up. Here I go, and oh, I got to stop and throw it back. Geez, I had a good hole there. Look, he gets kicked by his own guy, Grimm. That would have been a better play had they left it with Riggins behind Grimm and Jacoby.
That looks like a Razorback on top. Theismann looks to his left, now looks to his right, now scrambles around, now gets out of things as Cromwell is picked off by Riggins. That's an illegal block by Riggins. He hit Cromwell in the back. Jim Collins finally got Theismann.
I'll tell you, he really did get Cromwell. They're from the same school, too, Riggins and Cromwell. So they didn't play together because Cromwell's been in the league for 7 years, Riggins for 12 years. But he's smiling about it. He said, I was just hustling.
Sure, they know each other. Theismann scrambling out of the pocket. They'll mark it off against Riggins. Little turf coming out of his helmet.
Right after the play, Cromwell went up and talked to him and pointed the finger like, hey, don't do that to me. Riggins just smiled and said, I didn't mean it. Let's see if we can watch it here. It'll be in the left side of the screen. There it is, right there. Just before Theismann broke, that was Riggins coming in on Nolan Cromwell.
Number 44, illegal block in the back.
Illegal block in the back, and there wasn't much doubt about it. 12:24 left to play third quarter. It'll be 2nd and 20. From the Redskin 38, they send Brown out wide to the left, Monk to the right, and replace Riggins with Washington. And goes. Has time, gets it to Washington, who does that so very well. He gets a good block downfield. Taken down by Jim Collins and Eric Harris. Nick Giaquinto is the one who got the block.
Yeah, we really haven't heard much on of the defensive line from the Rams, but watch this left side here. Jacoby 66, the left tackle, and Grimm on Reggie Doss here. Here Doss has to fight Jacoby. If he ever gets by, boom, there's Grimm ready to hit him. That's a long day for Reggie Doss, because that's about 600-pound a guy there. Doss only weighs about 250, 260.
And Jacoby and Grimm both are in the 300 neighborhood. Here's Theismann back to throw. He has Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown slipped down and is finally knocked down out of bounds by Nolan Cromwell.
Johnny Johnson was on Charlie Brown, man-to-man. The kid coming out of here, we see the pass protection. Look at the time Theismann has. He finds Brown right there. You see Johnson just jumped. Brown started to turn up, and he slipped right there in that wet area. Then he got up. Whew, Nolan Cromwell straightened him out.
6 catches for 175 yards for Charlie Brown. That's record-setting figures. Those are. Monk in motion. Theismann gives to Riggins, and Riggins heads to the outside. Kyle's over 2 or 3 Rams. Hits into Jim Collins. They finally get him down, but Riggins surges down to about the Ram 20.
That was the first time that Riggins has gotten outside all day. You know, he's had success inside between the tackles, and this time he was able to bounce it out. Watch his blocking here. Watch Joe Jacoby, 66. He just straightens Doss up. Good block there by the tight end, and then he just bounces to the outside. It was Rick Walker who was next to Jacoby there. They sealed off that left side so that Riggins could bounce out.
7-yard gain at the 20. 2nd and 3. Brown started to swing in motion, now comes back in the opposite direction. They give again to Riggins. And Riggins inside the 5. Riggins still fighting, but there's a flag thrown back at the line of scrimmage as Riggins just barreled up the middle.
going to be holding against the Redskins. The officials have to start thinking, hey, these guys can't be blocking that well, man. They got to be holding in there to get those big holes. Yeah, it is. Great drive stop with the old holding call.
Riggins got it all the way down inside the 5.
And he carried guys on him for about the last 10 yards.
They almost never got him down.
Offense holding number 53. 53.
Right at the point of attack, but that's still a heck of an effort by Riggins.
And they got the center, Jeff Bostic, right there. It looked like he started to pull his right arm up in there and hooked it up in there. But doggone, you still have to appreciate this run of John Riggins. Look, guys hanging on him. Seriously, please just keep going. Then he looks over to see how far did I get.
He had his first down. Now he gets a rest as Washington is in there instead of Riggins. Outside, Don Warren, the tight end. Back to about the 25. Owens and Collins out there with him.
Jeff Bostic, I think he's still looking for that umpire as the official that lines up behind the defensive line and calls a holding. I still think he's trying to say he didn't hold. He probably did. You know, he just put his arm up there, and the defensive guy clamped down on his arm. Just got caught in there. That's what Bostic's saying. Hey, I didn't mean it. My arm just got caught inside his arm. I'd buy that. Anyone that doesn't wear long underwear and plays line, I kind of like that.
You go with 3 wide receivers, Garrett in there with Brown and Monk. Heisman looks to Garrett. Inside the 20. Johnny Johnson, the defender, short of the first down. Here's Mosley, already on the field.
Boy, there aren't many of him around much anymore.
Nope.
He's the only one in this league, but there aren't even many in high school or college. He's straight ahead guy.
Almost nobody even practices that way anymore. Mosley, 36 yards away. He's hit from 42 already. When things go right, they go right. Mosley's second of the day. And it's Washington 41. The Rams 7. We're still in the third quarter. Entire Redskin family. Jeff Hayes will kick off with his team leading 41-7. Henry Ellard will handle it. Well, almost. Fumble. I think it got out of bounds, and Ellard was the last man to have possession. Yes, that's right. Stuart Anderson was the man down there.
Catch the ball here, and he starts upfield, and he never does have the ball. It goes right between his legs. Then he picks it up. Now watch, the ball just gets punched out there. Now, if the Redskins jump on that ball before it gets out of bounds, it's their ball. If they don't, of course, then the last player to have possession was the Rams, so they get to keep the ball. Watch this thing, so close. They want to get that thing before it hits that line. Right there it goes out. He tries to grab it, bring it back in, too late.
So the Rams start operating from deep in their own territory. David Hill is in motion. Ferragamo throws low to George Farmer. Darrell Green, the nearest Redskin defender. The 2 running backs today, the principal characters, of course, were Eric Dickerson of the Rams and John Riggins of the Redskins. It's been a long day for Dickerson. Riggins, 21 carries, 88 yards, and 3 TDs, and another run that would have put him over 100. Ball back. Dickerson slips down at the 15. Dickerson, of course, played collegiately at SMU. Played only 4 games, I think, on natural grass in college. None of which I'm sure were like this one. this cold.
And one of the big things in playing in the NFL is knowing the proper shoes to wear. And the players really go through a lot of that. You know, you have them for artificial turf, for grass, for freezing, all those types of things.
Ferragamo's pass is intercepted on a diving catch by Ken Coffey. George Farmer was the intended receiver.
I'll tell you, we have that thing with the running back, but I think it's a quarterback. I'll tell you, Joe Theismann has done the job. Ferragamo's having a very tough day. But that was pretty good coverage. But more important than that, bigger than that, that was a great catch.
Big catch. Ken Coffey, rookie safety man. 41-7. It's the book today on Vince Ferragamo. He's had 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown. In the first meeting between the two teams back on November the 20th, it was another tough day for Vince. Joe Washington, the ball carrier for perhaps a yard. Now they're saying there's a fumble. And the Rams do have it. Greg Meisner comes up with the ball. See if we can pick it up.
Usually on first down, John Riggins is a running back, and maybe Joe Gibbs has decided he's going to give him a little rest, so he puts Joe Washington in there. I'll tell you, that ball was just stripped right in there. It looked like Carl Eckern, number 55, the inside linebacker of the Rams. He just reached in and grabbed it with his right hand, jerked it out of there.
Rams out quickly and back to business from their own 41-yard line. 1st and 10. 8 minutes left to play third quarter. Ferragamo has to go again. Mike Gooman, and Gooman slips at the 45, and Darrell Green is the defender.
What if the 49ers are watching this game and saying, geez, what are we going to do on this side of the field, this left side of the field? Everyone's been slipping there all day. But I have the feeling that the Redskins know this field pretty well, because I have the feeling that they may have used it. You know, used those moves, that out and up and those types of things.
They did early in the game, for sure, when they got out ahead. Barber comes up with a catch, and Rich Malott is right there with him. It'll be a Ram first down at the Redskin 44.
You know, if there's anything that they've had that's being able to get the tight end. Now watch Dennis Hare in there going man-to-man on Butts there. They really are going, look, play helmet to helmet, thing to thing. Whoa, that's pretty doggone good. I'll tell you, Butts gets a little push up there in that middle, and that's tough to throw that way.
First down for the Rams. Ferragamo back. A blitz, and Ferragamo is hit, really hit. Just as he let the ball go, he was leveled by Murphy and Darrell Grant.
I'll tell you, Mark Murphy timed that thing perfectly. Okay, here's Mark Murphy right here. Now, he lets these blockers go, and then he hits this thing after the blockers have already declared themselves. See, Ferragamo's looking to the right. He doesn't even see Murphy now. And watch that. Just as he goes to throw, there's Mark Murphy. That was great timing of a safety blitz. They get up in there too soon, then the lineman will count them, and they'll get them blocked. Stay back and then time it until they commit.
Ferragamo back in the pocket again. Going deep again. Ellard out of bounds. Incomplete. Darrell Green was back there with him. Ferragamo led him out of bounds.
Well, that's a tough throw out there, because what you want to do is you want to put it up over his outside shoulder, which he does, but he gets it just a little too far to the outside. If you're throwing up inside down there, that's the one that's knocked down or intercepted. So you want it up over the outside shoulder, and the receiver should give him a little more room than that to the sideline.
Farmer comes out wide to the right. Washington defense in 83. What they gave up during the games in the regular season and what they've done today. It's been good. Redskins on a blitz again, and Barber has it slip through his hand. He would not have had the first down. Monty Coleman was there with him.
Yeah, this is 1 4th down. The Rams will go for it. They figure, what the heck? We're down 41-7. Why punt now?
I'm sure you're right about that.
The only thing they've had any type of success with, passing-wise, has been the tight end, Barber, in the middle. They've had very little success to the outside receivers, other than the touchdown, of course, to Denard.
That was on that slippery side of the field again. Farmer is out wide to the right. That's Denard in motion. Redskins blitzing again. And Ferragamo with no time, and they shut him down. And the Redskins offense comes back on. An intimidating performance by the Washington Redskins as they lead 41-7 with 6:20 left, third quarter. Big year for him, wasn't it? Led the NFL in interceptions with 9, and 84 is getting off to a pretty good start.
Of course, in 84, he'll be starting in the Pro Bowl for the NFC team.
From the 44, Garrett in motion. Riggins in motion. Riggins to the Ram 40. Mel Owens tripped him up. Riggins over 100 yards, 104.
This is the reason that a fullback does so well in the second half of a game. The defense gets a little tired. They're not as quick. They're not as strong. They've been beaten down by this big offensive line all day. They don't tackle the same way at the end of the game as they do at the beginning of the game. And a fullback will always pop bigger run in the second half than he does in the first half.
Garrett's the motion man. Riggins is the ball carrier. To the 35. Reggie Doss. But Riggins got about 5 nevertheless.
I'll tell you one thing about these Redskins and Joe Gibbs. If they get the pressure on you, they keep the pressure on. They're ahead 41-7. They don't start doing substitutions. They don't start bringing in backup guys so they can get their letter and stuff. They keep in Theismann. They keep in the Hawk. They keep in Reagan. They get you bending down a little, and they just keep driving you down.
Which is the mark of a very, very fine team. One of the marks, I should say. Riggins again. Up the middle is Riggins. Hammers for a first down. Collins puts the hit on Riggins, but he got the first.
I'll tell you, and I say again, that offensive line has done a great job out here today. I mean, you haven't heard the names of Meisner and Dawson, Youngblood, and Eckert and those guys. Watch them. They just fire out. This is type of a zone man type thing. They just fire out. They just get in front of their guys, drive them, and Riggins picks a hole. He still has to pay for it at the end of those runs, doesn't he?
And those linemen appreciate that. This is 5 straight games now for Riggins in the playoffs, over 100 yards. See, another great thing about Riggins, in addition to his strength and his durability, is the fact that he almost never fumbles.
You know, another great thing that I like about him is they have a little cubicle in their practice field I was talking about. There's a bunch of guys like assistant equipment men. And he goes in and he meets with those guys after practice. They sit around, he and Jacoby and a bunch of these old-timers. And, you know, I mean, he's a football player's football player.
Right now, that football player gets a little rest. Washington is behind Theismann, and he gets the carry. Washington scoots for about 3 over the left side. Greg Meisner on the bottom of the pile for the Rams.
Probably go over and get a little drink or something there. Maybe a shot of oxygen. Yep, there's a little drink or something. Now you'll go get the oxygen. Yep.
And you go back in the game. Third down, about 4 from the 23-yard line of the Rams, with the Redskins leading 41-7.
He even spits like a fullback in a hog. You see that? You just spit and you let it go right down your front of your shirt.
Washington hit behind the line of scrimmage, by Collins and Doss. And Mosley will come on again. John Riggins underneath the towel.
Isn't that a good hog spit, though? I mean, the way he's spitting, it just goes, dribbles down. Like a quarterback. See, like Theismann, if he were going to spit it, it would go out in front of him. They would, make it go out and hit the ground. Those guys, you don't worry about it.
Never hits the ground.
No, you get a little on your jersey.
From 41 yards this time is Mosley. And again, he is right down the middle. Washington moves out 44-7. Hail to the Redskins. Saturday, a special edition of CBS Sports Saturday. Nebraska's powerhouse backfield of Heisman Trophy winner Mike Rozier, Turner, Gill, and Irving Fryer, plus a host of other college all-stars are expected to perform in the East-West Shrine game as we look at Henry Allard being taken out of bounds and slammed to the frozen turf. And there goes the penalty flag. Redskins' Reggie Evans made the hit.
Well, the hit was okay. It was just the fact he didn't stop. When you go out of bounds, they start blowing the whistle. You got to stop tackling that. Reggie Evans just kept going. Watch him. He's the outside guy here, 26. He's okay now. It's okay. Now when you get out of bounds, you got to stop, Reggie. Look, he just keeps going. Keeps going. Takes a minute. Look, policeman flying out, behind, and his cameraman. You got to stop when you go outside. You only play 53 yards wide.
Unnecessary roughness, receiving team 26. First down.
Rams take over at their own 42 with a minute and 56 seconds left to play in the third quarter. Charlie Brown, by the way, and this could really hurt the Redskins after the day he had, is out with a hamstring pull and will not return. Terracamo to Gooman for about 7 yards. Monty Coleman makes the stop.
I'll tell you, that could be a problem in this type of weather. The big guys, the linemen, the hogs, and those type of guys, they like cold weather because they don't get tired. But for the other guys, you see, like these guys here, they love this cold weather. Look, they don't have shirts and long underwear and stuff. They just play with what the equipment man gives them. But those speed guys, when they come off on the sideline, they get all warmed up. Then they come off on the sideline and they cool down. That's how they get the pull.
That was Eric Dickerson on the last carry. Dave Butts led the defense, number 65.
Let's watch big Dave Butts in there against Dennis Hara. He's right in there, the third guy in, right there. Watch, Hara goes. He just splits right between Hara and Smith. Doug Smith, the center. He just took that gap. Call that the center guard gap. He just split that center guard gap and got in the backfield.
There's that battered helmet of Butts. Third down and about 3. Terracamo will try to do it through the air. Has it knocked away at the last minute, intended for Gooman. And guess who? Diving defensive play by Darrell Green. You having a good time?
I'll tell you, that smile and the spark in his eyes. But watch how he makes up ground here. Just takes off and just dives and makes that. That's a heck of a play. That really is. He may be the most valuable player in today's game. He said he thought that he was in the Dallas game until he watched the films and he saw how well Dave Butts played.
He could well be today, although it would be a difficult choice. Ferragamo gets it out to Gooman, and Gooman in the grasp of Darrell Green might have had enough surge to get the Ram first down. He did. That's time remaining in the third quarter. And it's 44-7, Redskins over the Rams. Doubt if they'll get another one off. Do not. That's the end of the third quarter with the score Washington 44. The Rams 7. We'll be back after this word from your local station. Madden, RFK Stadium, Washington. One more quarter left to play. Murphy up faking the safety blitz again. They do pick it up, and this time it's Preston Denard spinning inside the Redskin 30. Anthony Washington, the defender.
You see what happens on that? If that weak safety who's blitzing gets up in there too soon, you see Murphy there? Now they count him. You see Kent Hill comes down on him, although they didn't come down on Darrell Grant, but then they can count him and block him. It's when he stays back in that area where the lineman doesn't count him, then comes late. That's when you get the big play in the safety blitz.
Ferragamo. Dickerson. Has it picked off. That's Darrell Green.
The ball bounces out of Dickerson's hands. It was right there. That's an interception. That's not Ferragamo's ball. But watch, right here, he knows he has a touchdown. Puts his hand up. I got it. The old left hand. In the celebration in the end zone, one of the guys, Monty Coleman, a linebacker, picked him up like he was one of those rag dolls. Look at him. You think he's a happy guy? But he's going to kiss the ball. I love you.
Reason to celebrate. Just went 72 yards with that interception. That was his first professional touchdown. Rams, one of the up men fielding the ball for the Rams. The returner was Eric Williams, I believe. Turnovers today, 3 by the Rams, 1 by Washington. And during the regular season, you see that was just phenomenal. They wound up a plus 43. The Rams were minus 3.
I'll tell you, right now, today, they have to be the best team in football. They have to be the best team in the NFL. And that old saying about the road to Tampa, or the road to the Super Bowl, definitely will go through Washington.
Surely will. And it'll be about 8 lanes wide.
And that's not only if you're coming from Canada. If you're coming from San Francisco.
Wherever. This is Gooman. Gooman from behind by Monty Coleman. Sins enjoy the Florida sun after California fun. Looks like they've got one California team taken care of. Another one next week.
Welcome Welcome to the pig pen. I love that, man. Football should be played in pig pens, not artificial turf fields with roofs on them. No, the old pig pen. Get out there, sweat and grunt.
Well, this is good and dirty. This is Barry Redden, who searches for the first down. It's a little bit gloomy over there on that sideline.
Well, it is, but I'll tell you, they had a heck of a year, too. You know, they were 2-7 a year ago. This guy, John Robinson, came in, turned them around. He put fun back in the game. You know, I mean, he knows what the Rams are. He knows what he needs, and they're a team that is on the road back, and they are really going to be reckoned with next year.
Speaking of being on the road, they have been on the road a lot this year. They've traveled over 40,000 miles. Redden. Monty Coleman again, the first one to hit him. They think, the Rams do, that they have traveled more miles this year than any NFL team ever had.
You know, it seems like every week you would look, they were playing in New York. They played in New York twice, the Jets and the Giants. They played Philadelphia in Philadelphia. They were in Dallas last week, Washington this week.
New Orleans, Atlanta.
Let's keep that fuel in those Jets.
Second down, 7 to 45. Ellard out of bounds. The throw from Ferragamo in front of Darrell Green, 11 yards and a Ram first down. Charlie Brown, we told you, had a hamstring pull. Don't know how serious it is. What a day he had alongside his quarterback, Joe Theismann.
I'll tell you, we were talking earlier about how Joe Theismann stayed after practice, and he kept Charlie Brown out there and Art Monk. Look, Joe's still coaching him. Joe's saying, look, you go in, you come back inside, I go here, I put it up there just like that. Yeah, good, Charlie. Yeah, that's good, Joe. Good stuff.
Redskins blitz. Intended for Redden. Incomplete. Neil Olkowitz was out there with him.
I bet you Charlie Brown's leg isn't too bad, though, because he did have a smile on his face.
Yeah, I think he'll be okay. You never know how long it's going to take a hamstring to heal. The NFC Championship game next Sunday will begin here with the NFL today, and the 49ers will take on the Washington Redskins. They have a job on their hands. That's Dickerson. Nothing doing. Maybe a yard over the left side. Monty Coleman again on the tackle.
You know, one thing I think that the end of this game demonstrates here, we still have over 10 minutes to go, is there's only one way to play this game, and you play it all out. You hustle, you gang tackle, you rush the passer, you block on offense, you run hard, and there's no letting up. I mean, you're ahead 51-7, but you still play the same way that you're taught and drilled. That's what these Redskins are doing.
Doing it very well. Dickerson on 3rd and 10 as the lone setback. They take flips and don't make it this time. Ferragamo. Pass almost picked off, but a flag is down, intended for David Hill. Washington, and they'll move it upfield for a Ram first down. Darrell Green today has 6 tackles, 6 passes broken up.
Contact number 51, that's 5 yards and a first down.
Illegal contact by Monty Coleman, and of course Darrell Green also has the 1 interception for the 72-yard touchdown. It'll be a Ram first down at the Redskins 39.
What microphone is that there?
Makes the catch. Anthony Washington made the defensive play. Really Really not too much you can say about how effective the Redskins have been. They went back, as John Madden told you in the beginning, during the week off and took a look at the best plays they had going for them and what players executed them best, and they put all that in their game plan. And they did it again.
Well, we said it was going to be like a highlight film, and it sure is, and they're playing like this is a highlight film.
Down goes Ferragamo. Charles Mann leads the rush, and that's the third sack.
Joe Gibbs was saying that Charles Mann someday is going to be a great one. He's playing right in, playing for Dexter Manley, and someday he may take Manley's place over there, but he said he's just a natural pass rusher. He said he's big, he's tall, he's a very bright guy. He said he's going to be a star in this league. And I can see why, because he has that speed, but you see that strength, how he just took Bill Bain and moved him to the outside and then went inside him?
3rd and 12. Anthony Washington is the defender. Preston Denard, the intended receiver. It's incomplete.
Ferragamo's looking in there. You can tell in his eyes. He's saying, man, this has been a long day. He said, hey, shouldn't have thrown that one. He was pretty well covered.
Total offense, Washington 413 yards. Of course, they broke all the scoring records on offense during the regular season. Here's Misko. Knuckle kick. Giaquinto handles it at about the 18. So the Redskins will take over. We have 9:38 left to play in the contest. Again, a reminder that next week on Sports Saturday, the 59th East-West Shrine game, and we'll also begin our extensive coverage of the World Cup skiing with the men's downhill competition from Laux, Switzerland, all next Saturday, 3 Eastern. Nick Giaquinto is now the running back. As Mark McGrath was in motion, getting a look at a lot of unused Redskins. McGrath was just activated a couple of weeks ago. Big Dave Butts, 11 years in the pit, perhaps his best ever. Led the Redskins with 11.5 quarterback sacks. And for a defensive tackle, that's a little bit unusual. McGrath in motion. Handoff Giaquinto, as Heisman is still the quarterback. Joe Gibbs and Bob Holly, the backup quarterback.
I think Holly wants to go in, and I don't think Joe Gibbs wants to put him in. He says that he doesn't believe in that, having another quarterback come in and finish out a game. He said all they do is do sloppy things and get in bad habits. It looks like Holly was up there begging, and Gibbs didn't pay any attention to him. He's just staring straight ahead. Hey, Joe, you're ahead 51-7. You don't have to stare.
Heisman back to throw. There you go. Nick Giaquinto came up with the reception, short of a first down, I believe. Very close.
You have to like that Holly, though, Pat. He won't take no for an answer. He keeps warming up. He's a second-year guy from Princeton. He's an Ivy Leaguer. Made the team last year. Hasn't played an awful lot. In fact, I think it's a big thing, you know, that Joe Theismann means so much to this Redskin team that probably of all the players that they could afford to lose, he's the one they could least afford to lose.
They got the first down. I think maybe the only reason that Joe Gibbs might put Holly in is to give the fans a chance to acknowledge what Theismann has done.
You said it, saying it's true. There he goes.
Touchdown. This is Giaquinto taking the handoff from Holly. And Heisman putting the cape on.
You know, he's not only had a great day, he's had a great year. Most valuable player in the NFL this year. And the thing that I don't think that this guy's had a bad game all year. Every time we've seen him, every film we've watched, he has been consistently a great quarterback this year.
Well, he only threw 11 interceptions all year. 4 of them against the Giants the last Saturday of the regular season. That was probably the worst day he had, but he still led them back to win. McGrath in motion. Hand off Jeff Quinto over the left side. Mel Owens came up to make the stop. It is 51-7 Washington. And here is how they did it. 5 touchdowns, 3 field goals by Mark Mosley. They only had to punt twice. And there was 1 fumble. Here comes Russ Grimm.
I'll tell you, there's a good hog, man. See, his neck has been bothering me. He hurt his neck the other day in practice, and he has that thing up there, but he sure played a great game today.
Roy Simmons has replaced him. Holly hits to Clint Didier. Enough for a Redskin first down.
Yeah, they took Russ Grimm out, and they also took Joe Jacoby out. It's interesting, they moved their starting right guard, Mark May, is now playing left tackle.
There is Russ Grimm.
Grimm does look like a real hog.
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, a 300-pounder.
Yeah, look at that. Did that thing wave. Have a little drink. Neck's okay, guys.
Not much happiness over there. Otis Wansley is now the running back. He gets a chance to carry. Wansley gets about a couple. Carl Eckern leads the Ram defense. The Redskins have so many weapons, so many guys, and they get 110% out of every one of them.
You know, and a lot of that is a tribute to their general manager, Bobby Beathard. This team is made up of 26 free agents and 19 drafted players, but you know, of these 49 guys, 34 of them have come here in the last 2.5 years. That's since Bobby Beathard, and of course, Joe Gibbs has been here.
And his coaching staff. Gibbs' coaching staff has done a whale of a job. Otis Wansley taken down by Carl Eckern. Jeff Kemp warming up over behind the Ram bench. That's the way the Redskins were built. We were just talking about the draft picks and the free agents and how they got them by trade and what have you. That's remarkable.
Yeah, I think the remarkable thing is that 26 free agents, because there's, you know, a lot of ways to build a team. And you always think of that first round. You know, who are they going to take in the first round? Who are the Giants going to take? Who's this team going to take? But, doggone it, the great teams are sometimes built with those lower round picks and free agents.
A couple of years ago, it was Philadelphia in the Super Bowl, and that's how they were built. Here's Holly stepping into the pocket, hitting Alvin Garrett. Garrett struggling to get up to midfield. Nolan Cromwell. Carl Eckern stopped Alvin. Another one of those acquired from elsewhere. Vince Ferragamo. I think his day is over. 20 out of 43, 175 yards. The 1 touchdown, the only one they have. And the 3 INTs. Jeff Hayes comes in to punt for the Redskins. He and Dave Jennings of the Giants tied for getting the ball down inside the 20 the most times during the regular season. See if you can do it here. 29 times he did it. Nope, this one off the side of his foot. Ellard handles it at the 22. Trying to get something going and can't, as Monty Coleman, who was an excellent athlete, Charles Mann, both were right down there. Big Joe Jacoby, and when I say big, that is not a big enough word. 51-7 Washington. This is the most points against the Rams since the 5th game of the 1963 season when they lost to the Bears, 52-14. Jeff Kemp. He even sounds like his father.
He sure looks like his father.
Yeah. A.J. Jones out of the backfield and rushes for the best Ram rush of the day. Curtis Jordan.
I'll tell you what, Pat, before the season, if I would have said in the playoff game, you're going to have a playoff game and you're going to have the two quarterbacks are both going to be ex-Ivy League quarterbacks, you would have said, nah, no way. Here we got it. Jeff Kemp from Dartmouth, and of course, Holly from Princeton.
Out comes Butts.
He's not from the Ivy League.
Nope. From Purdue.
Boilermaker.
He looks like it.
Looks like a boiler.
Jones again. Ball came loose. Redskins are saying they have it. And indeed, that's true. Monty Coleman comes up with the ball. Terry Brooks made the hit to toss it. The 4th turnover by the Rams. Just over 2 minutes left to play.
The line.
Longhorns will try to keep their national title hopes alive when they play the once-beaten Georgia Bulldogs in the Cotton Bowl tomorrow on CBS Sports.
By the way, when you watch the Cotton Bowl game tomorrow here on CBS, you'll be able to find out what time the 49er Redskin game is next week. John Robinson doesn't really care. It will be certainly on Sunday, but we are not sure yet what time. Bob Holly, the quarterback. Gives to Reggie Evans this time. Mel Owens led the Ram defense.
Yeah, we talk about quarterbacks and being from the Ivy League. What if you're a Notre Dame fan? Who do you root for next week? Heisman or Montana?
I'll have to think about that. Most of the sellout crowd that began today, the game between the Rams and the Redskins, have headed for the parking lots. The Redskins 51, the Rams 7. 2nd and 8 for the Rams. For the Redskins, sorry. Bob Holly, the quarterback. Reggie Evans. Tonight on CBS, 60 minutes. Alice, One Day at a Time, the Jeffersons, Goodnight Beantown, and Papa John M.D. That's the lineup. Happy Redskin bench and a very dejected Ram bench. It'll be a long flight back, but they have had a good year. 3rd down for Washington. Evans hit by Jim Collins. That'll bring up a 4th down. Don't forget the wrap-up show coming up, the NFL Today with Brent Musburger, Dick Vermeil, and today's highlights with that group involved. They stayed throughout this cold day.
Yeah, we caught Dick Vermeil combing his hair there. Hey, coaches don't comb their hair. You just put a hand through it.
He answered us, but we don't know what he said.
I've never seen a coach comb his hair before, huh?
Well, he's an ex-coach, so that allows him to do it now.
I comb it once a day when I wake up in the morning. That's it. Do I look like I do?
Do you carry a comb?
No, I've never had one.
Holly just deals. Those responsible for this broadcast: executive producer Terry O'Neill. He'll be back next week with us. Senior producer, the real, authentic Red Eye, directed by Sandy Grossman. Thanks and a Happy New Year to Joan Vetrano and all the rest of the crew. Still 12 seconds remaining. And the clock stops there. All the rest of the people who have journeyed down here over the holidays and spent them on the road, responsible for this broadcast. Also like to acknowledge statistician Mike Swanson and spotter Mark Barrow.
There they are. I think one of the things to acknowledge is the great football game the Washington Redskins played today. That's about as perfect a game by one football team I think as you'll ever see.
And Joe Gibbs, who legitimately seemed worried yesterday, still looked worried. But
well, he's thinking about the 49ers next week. And I'll tell you, the 49ers are thinking about him. We're going to have Bill Walsh on the show. I'll guarantee he's nervous now, not about being on the post-game show, but about having to play these Redskins here next week.
Bill Walsh standing by to chat with Brent Musburger after this game is over. He'll bring his 49ers here next week. Boy, did he look relieved at the end of that game yesterday. Jones again over the right side. And that should do it. A resounding victory by the Washington Redskins, the world champions. Final score is Washington 51, the Rams 7. Don't forget, the NFC Championship next Sunday begins with the NFL Today. San Francisco 49ers against these Redskins. Check your local listings for the time in your area. And don't forget, coming up next, the NFL Today, the wrap-up show with Brent, Dick Vermeil, and the highlights of today's game.